This morning we are going to be continuing our amazing conversation with Barbara Wilder, The Possibilities for the Future. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning, Patricia.
So how are you today?
I am very good.
Oh.
I am loving this day. The sun is shining through my window, and I'm the cool breeze because I'm in LA, so cool.
Well, I'm in the Rocky Mountains where we have all the beautiful aspen trees, and they're so gold right now. It's so pretty.
Oh, that I miss.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So last week we read your bio, which is very long. I'm quite impressed, by the way. And as I was looking at it, your second book, Embracing Your Power Woman, and the thing that the Dalai Lama said really, really fascinated me. And I wanted to kind of have a conversation with you around this because we're talking about the possibilities for the future. And the Dalai Lama said, Western women will save the world. And Embracing Your Power Woman is a guidebook for the woman who wants to be part of that promise. Tell me about this book and the concept around all of it.
Well, this book came into being about 15 years ago. It started to be born, and it was when I was moving through menopause, and and everybody, the whole thought about menopause was that you're going to get old now and you're going to die, and I was feeling the opposite. I was feeling like I was being born and there was brand new energy coming through me and brand new ideas. And I thought, well, wow, what's this? Let's look at this. And so somebody asked me to talk about creativity and older women at a event. And so I said yes. I always say yes. You want me to talk about anything, I'll say yes, because there must be something I'm supposed to say.
Right.
I think that's into my higher self, and I say, what are we going to talk about?
Uh-huh. Right.
And, so I got, as I was just brainstorming on paper, I just got these 11 points of mature feminine power. And they were and that's what they were called. It was and so the book is based on these 11 points of power. And these 11 points of power turned into, as I began to explore them, into this blueprint, this guidebook for women to step truly, deeply into their power, move through all the fears and all the old belief systems that when you become older as a woman, you have no more purpose. And learn that when you become older as a woman, you step truly into your most powerful time of your purpose. And so that's what the book really does with these 11 points of power, which start out with the power of self-love and the power of creativity and self-trust and courage and ability and true wealth and health and beauty and your own direction. And we come to this place in the middle of this book of finding our own direction, not what anybody else, any part of the culture, any parent or husband or children tell us is our own direction.
So I think that's absolutely one of the most important things that people need to hear. That's wonderful.
It is so important. And it's terrifying to get there. It's terrifying.
Yeah. Because
oh my God, what will anybody say? I won't be loved anymore. Right. But of course, so what you do is you step more and more into who you are, and you find out that the people that really love you, that really want to be with you, are the people that support this fabulous direction that you were born to have.
Right.
And then
and the reality is, even those who are worried or they think what are you doing, mm-hmm. Eventually they come around to. They may not agree with you, but the bottom line is that they love you too. They do.
That's right. That's right.
It just scares them when
scares
somebody
them.
starts to change or shift or step into a new direction or get on a new path.
Right.
That doesn't make anybody wrong. I mean, I think that's one of the big things that people have to learn is that just because what you're doing isn't approved of by everybody around you, it doesn't mean that you're wrong.
Oh, God. Yes, you're absolutely right. And because you were not wrong. So once we get to that marvelous place, and it's so wonderful because in the book, because I'm working with people in menopause and after, but it's a big change. It's a big hormonal change, and I compare it with that hormonal change we had as teenage girls.
Oh, okay, yeah.
When we went into adolescence and became teenage girls, this huge surge of divine feminine power came bursting forth in us. And the whole culture that we live in said, no, put a lid on that. Uh-huh. Put a lid on that. You be quiet. Don't act like that. Don't do that. Don't be who you are. It's way too scary for our culture. Mm-hmm. And so through the book and through all these points of power, we reconnect with her. And we say, where's the pain? Where's the pain from when you weren't able to say, do, or be? And where is your innate power? And reconnect to that so that it becomes a journey with your teenage self and your grown-up self now, walking together and coming together into that moment in time where you come together and find their own direction. The direction that the teenage self girl knew deep down, but so often had it stifled. And she informs and teaches and works with the mature woman, and the two birth a new woman, this fabulous new woman that then can move out into the world. And the next points of power are the power of partnership and community, mm-hmm. and then the power of authentic leadership, and then the power of enlightened success.
Right.
And the final power is the power of freedom. Mm-hmm. The power of freedom to be who you are and to take all of who you are out into your community, out into the world. Right. Whatever level that your leadership, that piece, that incredible piece of the mosaic of the new era that you carry, and bring it forth into the world. And with even though it's scary.
Oh, I know. Well, it's right. What's funny is I was thinking about growing up. I had two amazing, strong women as role models. It was my Irish grandmother and my Irish aunt, and they absolutely. I mean, when I look back on it, I mean, they were so adamant that I use my talents and that I get an education, mm-hmm. and that I grow up to be the person that I was born to be. I mean, it was a completely different. I mean, it was not a patriarchal household. I mean, my dad was wonderful. I mean, don't misunderstand. But he was very quiet, and he was a gentle kind of man. And I don't know a lot about Ireland, although I loved it when I was there. But my grandmother's era, they were matriarchal. I mean, it came from a matriarchal kind of vision. Whether that was really the way it is in the homes in Ireland, I don't know. But she was, they both not only nudged me, but they expected me to do something with my life, and I said, well, and my dad said, oh, she can get married and have kids. And my grandmother said, yes, that's lovely. And what else will she do? I mean, it really was never, she wasn't mean about it, but very, very strong in their expectation that I would use whatever gifts or talents that I had and follow the direction and use my spirit. She liked that I was feisty. She said, don't let life kill your spirit. You use that because it's important. I needed that. I mean, when I think about it, it's, that they were really so, and when I think about my teenage years even, I was a little rowdy, but I never really, I didn't do anything that I looked back on it that I couldn't say, oh no, I was okay. I mean, but part of that I'm sure is that, my dad got sick and died when I was 19, and that really changes your life very dramatically. Yeah. I mean, it does. Yeah. So, by the time I got into college, I wasn't looking at life the way a lot of my friends were looking at it. I was looking at it very differently.
Yeah, of course. Death is a big life changer.
It is. I mean, it is. It makes you look at the world differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. But what a joy for you to have those role models. I didn't have grandmothers at all. I never had any, or aunts or anything. I only had my mom, who was pretty wounded. But my grandmother, my Irish grandmother, has visited me from the other side, and taught me many things. And these Irish women that came to the United States were amazing, and because unfortunately, a lot of the Irish men that came to the United States had such a hard time, and they went to the bottle. They went and became drunk and drank up all their wages. And so a lot of Irish women decided not to get married early. And they got jobs working in homes, taking care of other people's kids and doing all kinds of things, but putting money away and becoming their own person. And my grandmother was one of those people. And she was single, and she was like 30 years old. And she took on her own, she took a trip. She was in New York. She took a trip on her own, and that was like 1900.
Oh, wow.
That's
unusual.
1905, I think, maybe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, something early 1900s. She took a train trip from New York to California on her own as a vacation. She took her own vacation.
Wow.
And that's where she met my grandfather.
Oh.
Yeah, and then she ended up, going back and getting, and coming back. But it was, and they homesteaded 20,000 acres in the wilderness, and
that's one. Well, and my great grandparents, they were the ones that were directly from Ireland, and and they homesteaded the northeast corner of Iowa, and they had 12 children.
Wow.
And she, I have pictures of her, and she was just, I mean, I can't imagine what she went through, because they really, the winters in Iowa were much more intense than the winters in Ireland. And she had 12 children, but in 1 year, 6 of them died from some kind of, I don't know if it was the diphtheria or the Black Plague, whatever it was, something that went through the United States in the late 1800s. Because I've been to the, quote, family homestead, and one of my cousins owns the farm that has the, what do you call it, the cemetery, the family cemetery there. And they're all there, including both my grandparents and great-grandparents. My grandparents moved from Iowa to California because it was better for my grandfather's breathing. He had emphysema. But the thing is that you look at the pictures of these people and you realize what amazing determination it took. And my great grandfather Bernard was really, he even, I don't know if he knew my great grandmother in Ireland, and then or if he met her in Iowa, but they both, I mean, it's amazing. They have, even in the family history of the Mullins and the O'Tooles, they're kind of extraordinary as people, because they were so determined to make a life here that was different than what they'd had. Because, they had a lot of hardship. And then the other half is the Italians, and The Irish and the Italians, I think they were really both horrified when my parents got together. Because
sure.
I'm half Irish and half Italian, and they're like, what are you doing with that person? Marry somebody of your own race. Because back then, that's what they believed, So it's.
Did you see that wonderful movie called Brooklyn?
No.
Oh, you must see it. It's about an Irish girl marrying an Italian boy in Brooklyn. It's a beautiful movie. It just came out this year.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Do you know who's in it?
No, they're not big names, but it was up for the Academy Award last year.
Okay, I'll look it up. Cool.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
You'll love it. But you see, they had vision. These people had vision, and I think that's what we have to have now is a vision for the future, and a strength and a desire to make a difference, to make a change, to make things better. But it's about now, and this is what the Dalai Lama is asking us to do, is to think not just about ourselves and our families, which has been in the past.
Right.
Now, the new pioneers, the new visionaries, the new people that are going to push the envelope have to think about the we. Mm-hmm. It has to be about me and you, us together, to doing it together,
right?
And in loving community,
right?
And that's why that ninth point of power in my book is that the power of partnership and community is so important. Because we are leaving the era, we are leaving forever, right now, what Riane Eisler calls the dominator society. And we are crossing the threshold into the partnership society.
Well, it's also, you and I've talked about the 100th monkey. It's also about that it only takes 51% of any species, and they don't have to even be involved in whatever the conversation is, to make a quantum leap into a new awareness of something or some skill. And I think that as crazy as everything looks and as chaotic as it appears, I think that we are all actually moving towards that quantum leap.
We are. And they're seeing now that it takes much less. It takes less than 1%, literally now.
Really?
Because, yes. And the 100th monkey, it only took a month, one, it's that one.
Right.
But what happens is as people become more and more conscious, and people that are meditating and working with meditative, meditation and light, all these light workers on the planet, we all who are doing that, who are consciously doing that, have all these networks where we're connected with several 100,000 people that we're all connected, and the people that are consciously doing the work have their networks that are rising up in the vibration with them, with us.
Right.
So that's how it works. So that it's about energy, because it's all about energy. It's just about shifting the energy up into the higher vibration.
Absolutely. I mean, it is. It's just completely. It's like allowing. Well, it's like people. What I believe is that people who move above the collective consciousness in vibration, and it's like kind of like when you started your work with Money is Love, and then you went on to Embracing Your Power Woman. A lot of times you're kind of up there hanging out a little bit by yourself. And yet what happens is that when you have conversations with people and they start to see you in a different perspective, and they start to read different books or hear different podcasts and any number of things, what happens is that then that collective consciousness raises up to where you are. And if you're lucky, you get to hang out where they are, or you keep going. And then you're always like, okay, now I'm up here. What am I going to do? But I mean, but the reality is that I think that there are a lot of people on this planet that's their job. That's what they came in to do. Mm-hmm. And, and And someone said, well, that's kind of cool. They must feel really good about it. I don't think it's actually a particularly easy path. I think it's a hard path. I mean, because a lot of the people that I talk to who are on that path, they have had to kind of do a lot of soul searching and a lot of growing at a much faster pace than the average person, and to get where they are. And it's, and I think that it's in the long run, it's for the entire planet. It's not just for them. They really
exactly. And when you know that that's true, it makes, and you're consciously aware that that's true.
Right.
Going through the hell with what can be considered hell.
Oh yeah.
And people call it the dark night of the soul, and they think that you only do it once.
Oh no.
The dark night, so that you're doing it over again, because you're keeping bursting through the resistance to the light. It's only about the resistance to the light that you're pushing through.
Right.
And it takes me back to our ancestors, your great grandparents, and my grandmother, the pioneers, my grandfather too. Yeah. The pioneer spirit. It's the pioneer spirit. But look at what they did. But they were fighting the elements, right? And now
but they were also fighting people around them that says, "What are you doing? You're going to go out to. There's nobody out there. What are you crazy?"
Right, exactly. And that pioneer spirit, now the pioneer spirit is being a pioneer in consciousness.
Right.
And it's basically the same thing. We're taking humanity to a new level. Mm-hmm. We're people like you and myself, and so many millions more of us are the wagon masters,
Right.
The wagon
or train. The scouts.
Right, or the scouts, definitely the scouts. Oh my God, the scouts! I even talk about the scouts and the difference between being a leader and because in the new era, mm-hmm. leadership is going to be all this shared leadership.
Right.
So that sometimes you'll just be a leader. You'll be the leader if that's where your expertise and your special vision is. And other people will be the scouts.
Right.
Or the guides, right?
Right.
Then that person will go, oh, no, but I've already been there, so I can go to the leadership now. And then you say, okay, well, I'll be a guide and I'll work with you on that. And so that there'll be this give, and that's what we're growing into, right. Is the give and take, stepping in, because ego has to, of course, get the heck out of the way, right?
Yeah.
So that we can say, oh, I know I'm good at this. I know I have authority in this moment, And everybody else goes, oh, yes, you do. Right. But they don't follow. There's going to be no more followers. No followers. Only supporters or guides or people working in partnership.
People walking side by side.
Yes. But we always need that person that goes, oh, I will show us how to do this part.
Right.
Because how to, right?
Right. It's true.
Yeah. And everybody goes, oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, Barbara, you have just been wonderful. And like you and I had talked about, I probably will try to have you back in 2017 because, we have so much that we could talk about. You're just amazing. So thank you so much. And again, give everybody, even though it's your name, give them your website, please.
www.barbarawilder.com.
Thank you so much, and we will hopefully be talking to you again. And good luck with your workshops and your books and all of the wonderful things that you're doing.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, as always, my dear. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me here at the Creativity, Thinking, and Education podcast. Please visit us at happyteachershappystudents.com. And if you find value in this podcast and the message we are trying to spread, then click the subscribe button and give my show a review. I am so excited to be able to share the timeless adventures of these magnificent, amazing people. I feel so blessed. Thank you, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday.